Have you ever wondered how to really get a woman's attention? Well, forget about getting angry or criticizing her. There's a secret weapon that's far more powerful. It's ignoring her. But why does ignoring work so well, especially with women? Let's dive into the fascinating world of human behavior and learn how ignoring a woman can turn the tables in your favor. Do you wish to understand how to truly go beyond a woman's defenses? You don't criticize her or become enraged with her. You choose to ignore her. That will have a far greater emotional impact on her than any insult you can imagine. Being neglected now doesn't sound all that horrible for a man, does it? Like, you're probably used to being passed over unless you are an extremely high-status guy, at least when it comes to dating. So it's not so horrible to be shunned as a male. That's well-known ground. I mean, at least you've got some peace and quiet when you're being neglected like a male, and most men are cool with that. But as you can see, women are unique. It is intolerant for most women to be ignored. For them, it is a terrible experience if they are unable of doing it. They are incapable of handling being ignored. Thus, consider this from the standpoint of development. Back in the prehistoric era, as a man, you could go hunting alone for weeks at a time. You are keeping an eye on the horizon and following footsteps. And for that reason, among others, males tend to enjoy alone. Evolution has favored this trait in order to help men survive in such environments. But the women were getting very social back at the camp. Along with parenting one another's kids and assisting each other with housework, they gossip about the everyday activities at the camp. Their social ties are constantly being strengthened. Women are consequently far more publicly focused than men are. Compared to men, women require a lot more attention from others. This is a generalization, of course. Naturally, men still desire attention from other people. To determine where they fit into the male hierarchy, males still evaluate themselves against other guys. However, guys tend to be quite self-referential. We search within ourselves for meaning and answers. However, this can make it challenging for women to comprehend what it's like to be a woman, to truly grasp and experience how sensitive women are to other people's perceptions. Women turn to other individuals to know who they are, to have their own identity. They require frequent confirmation that they are liked, appreciated, and a valuable person. Now, a man of true brilliance and aptitude is probably so sure of his own value that he could just brush off other people's thoughts. However, women require this societal approval. Because women's brains are wired by evolution to constantly scan for that kind of social input, they are far more fixated on celebrity than males are. Women are constantly aspiring to be models, singers, actors in Hollywood, or Instagram celebrities. And it's not because they are deeply passionate about acting, fashion, or music. The fame is what matters. Of course, there are creative women in the world, but for many of these young girls, being creative is just a way to attract attention and feed the creative beast inside of them. You see, they have this inner voice that never stops telling them that they must always be acknowledged and valued by others in order for her to feel confident in her own worth. Do you recall, for example, how a few years ago Instagram threatened to take down likes from images, causing women to have complete breakdowns as if their identity itself was at jeopardy? However, it was, in a way, true. That was the seriousness of it. I am aware that guys may find this hard to comprehend, but you must realize how unique women are. Women and men have quite distinct wiring. Their encounter is entirely dissimilar. However, if you truly get this, that is, if you can appreciate it profoundly, you can utilize this knowledge to your advantage by choosing to ignore women. Regaining some control over gender dynamics can be achieved by learning to disregard women as artists. Thus, if you have a young, attractive woman who is accustomed to men falling over themselves to please her, always agreeing with her, doing her favors, making advances, and generally providing her with the affirmation that she is a very desirable woman, then this is what you have. However, a man appears out of nowhere and ignores her. Her entire world just falls apart at that moment. You think, now, hold on a minute. This is illogical. And why would she care about this one guy, when 99% of guys are confirming her feelings? She would just ignore him, surely. However, it is not how our species' evolutionary history has shaped our brains. Threats and other bad things get far more of our attention than good things. We tend to remember negative feedback far more. It's the man who disregarded her like a creaking step. He is unique. He behaved differently from everyone else. Abruptly, she perceives a true threat to her own safety. She starts to question her own worth. She starts to reveal all of her fears and uncertainties. She begins to fix her entire attention on him in an attempt to reclaim that sense of security. He turns into her entire universe. Try approaching a bunch of girls and pay particular attention to not talking to the sexiest one among them. Very dissimilar from what others would do. Women spend a tremendous amount of time comparing their appearances to other women, so that female would know that she is the hottest girl among her friends. She therefore fully anticipated that, being the most attractive, all attention from men would be directed towards her. Thus, engage in conversation and flirtation with all of your buddies while ignoring the attractive one. Even if she tries to grab your attention, ignore her and treat her as if she doesn't exist. I mean, this woman's whole just fell apart. So this tactic was incredibly successful, almost cruel. Her sense of self disintegrates. She was left out when all of her friends were having a blast flirting with this humorous, self-assured guy. Maybe this was the first time in her life that she was being left out. However, once is sufficient. She would therefore experience complete desperation. Rather than focusing on herself and her inner worth to restore her confidence, she gave her entire attention to this man. She's contemplating, if I can win him over, then I can calm down. Then I can reassure myself that I am desirable. And she will do everything in her power to accomplish that goal. She basically flings herself at him as a result. She would attempt to appeal to him on the most basic level by acting very, nearly demeaning herself. Anything to ease her fears would do. That was her level of desperation. This just provided as a fantastic illustration of the potency of the skill of selectively ignoring women and how successful it can be in drawing attention to you, elevating you to the center of a woman's universe, and making her yearn for your approval. Naturally, you won't accomplish anything if you're just hanging out at home or walking down the street without making eye contact with anyone. Although you are inadvertently avoiding women, they won't take notice of a man who ignores them when she's already ignoring him. He's just not visible to her, you know. However, when a woman looks to males for attention and doesn't get it, that's when her anxieties creep up on her and she starts to doubt herself, which is when she becomes anxious to win your approval. And I mean it when I say that I'm desperate in a really depressing sense. It breaks my heart to witness women do things for male validation because of their insecurities. I have a great deal of empathy for women. Seeing a woman act so helpless is unpleasant to witness. Therefore, I'm not encouraging males to be scumbags and take advantage of weak women. You're watching the incorrect channel if you believe that to be the purpose of this video. That isn't the purpose of our meeting. Just letting you know that occasionally, if you want a woman's attention, sometimes silence speaks louder than words. That's how you masterfully ignore ladies. It's a tactic to take back control, make her pursue you, and command her attention for once. Some men may assume, after hearing this, well, then, what do I do? Do I just stop replying to her texts? Even if I'm itching to chat to her and visit her, should I just ignore her occasionally? For a short while, I'll just ignore her. Is it the task assigned to me? Yes, occasionally that does work, but doing it in person has far greater impact. Therefore, consider specific female behaviors that women believe would always result in a guy pursuing them, such as acting very alluring and flirtatious, which naturally draws a man to pursue her, or even acting very irrational and distraught, which draws a man to console her. Women, you know, have this mental catalog of all the things they can do to entice a man to pursue her, console her, and, in essence, make her the center of his universe once more. And a woman will say one of these things if she's feeling down and needs some approval. She goes through her catalog, you know. It is imperative that you interrupt the pattern. Give up behaving the way she expects you to. Ignore her. That's the one thing you should do that she never expects you to do. She will know how to react to that and won't be prepared for it. And in the ensuing confusion, you have the opportunity to redefine the rules of your contacts and relationship to your greater advantage. For example, if your girlfriend is purposefully manipulating your feelings, picking fights with you, provoking arguments, and saying things like, "You don't care about me," It's clear that she needs the comfort that you always provide her in these situations. Just try ignoring her this one time, even though you know you love her and will always be there for her. Can you imagine the potential power of that? It's even more effective than becoming upset with her because you haven't done it before. Because it still reassures a woman that she is very important to you. Occasionally, ladies don't really mind when a man gets irritated with them. Recall that indifference, not rage, is the opposite of love. And that's the subject I'm discussing here. It's apathy, disregarding her and showing no regard for her. That's more than she can handle. She may scream and kick you the first time you do this, but you must ignore her. Rewarding bad behavior can only lead to more of it, so avoid doing so. When she becomes more composed and begins communicating with you in a polite and reasonable manner, it's time to quit ignoring her. Give her the affirmation she requires. You see, this is not a long-term plan to ignore things. No, it's a short-term solution that you implement in response to certain actions she is displaying. Furthermore, if a woman is being kind and nice to you and treating you well, there's no need to ignore her. No, that is a healthy partnership. You know, there's no need in making any changes at this point. You should only use this tactic when things are really not going well. Therefore, ignoring women can be a very effective strategy to increase attraction and reduce abusive behavior. It can also be used to reframe the encounter so that she is more interested in you and seeking your approval than she is in you. Guys are so accustomed to taking in all that women throw at them. The majority of males are eager to absorb all forms of poisonous femininity because they are so yearning for any form of female contact. And now is the moment to end that pattern. So, in conclusion, remember that understanding the power of selectively ignoring women can be a game changer in your interactions. By breaking the cycle of expected behaviors, you can reclaim some of your power and make her chase your validation. It's not about being cruel or manipulative, but rather about setting boundaries and reshaping the dynamics of your relationships. If you found this information valuable, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue to provide you with valuable insights and perspectives. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.